For students who need additional support, you can create an individual intervention plan to help them build a skill or meet a goal. Either you can search for a student you already know needs additional support, or you can use the filters in Student Success to find an individual student who meets certain criteria for a tiered intervention. Here, I'm using the filters to find a 7th grade student who is at risk in academics. Once you've identified a student, go to their student page. On the student's page, click the Create Plan button to start creating an intervention plan for them. After clicking on Create Plan, you'll see a form appear to enter details about the intervention. We suggest that you work with your student support team to determine the best course of action for the student and to fill out the form accordingly. Here, I'm selecting an ELA Tier 2 intervention where the student needs to identify the main idea of a passage in 2 out of 3 nonfiction texts. I'm going to use a close reading strategy and assign myself as the champion. The champion is the primary educator responsible for updating progress on the intervention. After selecting a start date and a duration of 6 weeks, I'm going to select a method for tracking progress. When choosing how you will track progress, you can either select Notes Only or Custom Method. The Notes Only method allows you to update progress by writing a note, whereas a Custom Method allows you to update progress quantitatively using numerical values. This could be useful for monitoring scores, which will be tracked visually with a graph and a goal line. I'm going to use Custom Method since my goal states that the student must identify the main idea in 2 out of 3 texts. When selecting a custom method, you'll need to enter a baseline and a target to monitor the student's progress against. Once you've finished, click Save to create the intervention. The intervention will now be visible on the student's page. Everyone who has access to that student's page can see the interventions they are receiving and how they're progressing towards their goals. Anyone can add a note, but only the champion, team members, and creator of the plan have the ability to update progress, complete the plan, or delete the plan. Group intervention should be used when multiple students are receiving the same intervention. Again, you can use the filters to narrow down a group of students who may need additional support. Here, I'm looking for 8th grade students whose attendance is at risk or critical. Once I've identified these students, I'm going to select them by clicking on the checkboxes next to their names. Click on Create Group Intervention. Now it's time to enter the details of the intervention. Aside from the group name, all the fields are the same as when you're creating an individual student plan. I'm going to call this intervention Attendance Group Fridays since I'll be meeting with them once a week to reflect on their progress. This is going to be a Tier 3 attendance intervention, and the goal will be students will attend school 5 out of 5 days a week. I'm going to use an attendance incentive plan as my intervention strategy and then choose myself as the champion. A champion is the educator who is primarily responsible for updating progress on the intervention. After selecting a start date and a duration of 6 weeks, I'm going to select a method for tracking progress. When choosing how you will track progress, you can either select Notes Only or Custom Method. The Notes Only method allows you to update progress by writing a note, whereas a Custom Method allows you to update progress quantitatively using numerical values. I'm going to use Custom Method since my goal states that the student must attend school 5 out of 5 days. You can enter different baselines and targets for students, although the content of the goal will be the same. Click Create to save the plan. There will be some cases where you need to add more students to an existing group intervention. First, navigate to the My Group Plans page on the sidebar and then select the intervention you want to update. On the top right, click the More Actions dropdown and then select Add Students. Before adding a student to a plan, remember that all students within the group have the same plan details, including the start date. So, if you're already a few weeks into the intervention, you may consider starting a new group or creating an individual intervention plan for that student. When you click on Add Student, you will see a short summary of the plan, so you can be sure which plan you're adding the students to. Click the dropdown and start typing the name of the student you want to add. As you type, you will see the student names appear below the text box. Click on a student's name to select them. You may continue searching and adding as many students as you would like. Once you have selected the students you would like to add, click Save in the bottom right corner to make sure the students are added to your plan. Start by finding a student with an intervention plan you'd like to update. There are a few ways to find intervention plans. If you know the name of the student whose intervention plan you want to update, simply search for their name and go to their page. You can also find students who have individual intervention plans by clicking on My Plans under Interventions on the sidebar. Additionally, you can find students who already have intervention plans in progress by using the Intervention Plans filters under the Filters sidebar. Using these filters will show you students who have intervention plans that are on track, progressing, or behind. I'm going to click on My Plans under Interventions in the sidebar, which will show all of my individual intervention plans. You can update progress by clicking to expand the intervention and then clicking the Update Progress button. In order to update progress, select the current date and whether the intervention was performed or not performed. This is an intervention that uses a notes-only monitoring method. Indicate whether the student is on track to meet the goal. Adding a note is optional. The status of a notes-only intervention will reflect on track, progressing, behind, or don't know from the most recent progress note. To update the status of an intervention that uses a custom monitoring method, click on Update Progress. Enter a numerical score indicating the student's progress. Adding an observational note is optional. After updating progress on an intervention using a custom monitoring method, a status will be listed based on the most recent progress update. Custom interventions are tracked on a line and a goal graph, and the color depends on how the most recent score relates to the trend line towards their target score. From the Students tab, click on My Group Plans under Interventions on the sidebar. This page shows all of your group intervention plans. Select the group intervention you want to update. I'm going to select the Attendance Intervention group I created earlier. After clicking on the group intervention, you'll see the list of students in the plan. From here, you'll be able to update their progress by clicking the blue Update Progress button. You'll need to update progress for each student in the plan. Keep in mind that progress updates can only be edited by the educator who created that update. Individual and group interventions can be edited up until when students have completed the plan. Group interventions can still be edited even when one or more students have completed the plan, but once all students have completed the plan, the ability to edit the intervention will no longer be available. Find an individual or group intervention you want to edit by clicking on My Plans or My Group Plans under Interventions on the sidebar. Remember, you will only be able to edit the plan if you created the intervention, are the assigned champion, or you're part of the team. First, I'm going to click on My Plans to update an individual intervention. Once you've found the intervention you want to edit, click on the More Actions button in the top right corner of the intervention, and then click Edit Plan. Now, I'm going to click on My Group Plans to edit a group intervention. After selecting the group intervention you'd like to edit, click on the More Actions button at the top right corner of the group intervention, and then click Edit Group Plan. Remember, group intervention plans can be edited even if one or more students have completed the plan. But once all students have completed the plan, the ability to edit the plan will no longer be available. Finally, you can complete an individual or group intervention plan when the intervention is done, and you can indicate whether or not the students met the goal. Remember, you will only see this option to complete a plan if you created this intervention, are the assigned champion, or a part of the team. To complete an individual intervention, find the intervention by clicking on My Plans under Interventions on the sidebar, or by simply going to a student's page. I'm going to click on My Plans and then find the individual intervention I want to complete. Click on the More Actions dropdown in the top right corner and then click Complete Plan. After clicking Complete Plan, you will be prompted to enter the date and whether the goal has been met, but providing a recommendation for future support is optional. Once you click Save, you will be unable to edit this intervention plan or to re-enter the student into this intervention. To complete a group intervention, find the intervention by first clicking on My Group Plans under Interventions on the sidebar, and then selecting the group plan you want to complete. To complete the group intervention for all students in the plan, you must click on More Actions and then Complete Plan for every student. When you click on Complete Plan, you will be prompted to indicate whether or not the goal was met, and if you have any recommendations for ongoing support. Once you've completed the plan for a student, you will see the update appear under Recent Status. Remember, once all students have completed the plan, you will no longer be able to edit the intervention.